today's video, we are going to be looking at Deadshot Daiquiri and all of its augments to see if it's worth your time unlocking or if any of them are just really good. Before we fully get into it, number one, if you're brand new here, be sure to subscribe. We are covering every single augment inside of Black Ops 6 Zombies, and just overall, I'm covering Black Ops 6 Zombies, so if you would like to see more content, be sure to subscribe, as that does let me know I should continue these, and also a like would be very much appreciated, as that does help out not only the video, but the channel itself. And the second thing is, how do you unlock these augments fast? How am I doing it myself? Well, the best strategy is to go into Terminus Island or Liberty Falls, go up till round 21 and exfil from there if you don't have time. That is definitely the fastest strategy for anyone who's just hopping on and wants to progress through those as fast as you can. But one thing I would say is potentially try to stick around till around 26. Even though those do get really challenging, you are kind of going to get a tiny bit more XP, but your XP does cap out at 21, so that's why I recommend for you to exfil then. Without further ado, let's get right into the Deadshot perk, and we are starting off with the major augments as always, and we are looking at the Dead Head augment. And with this one, I went in and I tried my best to test this bad boy out to try to understand it as best as I could. Now, the description of this augment says further increase critical damage. So first of all, obviously this is going to be increasing the amount of damage that it deals, but by how much? I decided to hop into a game of not using the Deadshot augments at all of any kind, just in case if any of them dealt more damage, and then of course using it with this major augment. The weapon that I decided to use was the compact SMG. It's like the last one that you unlock. It was just something that I was making progress on. It will basically have the same effect on your other weapons, but maybe not the damage in the same way, since there are some weapons that can probably deal thousands upon thousands of headshot damage, like sniper rifles for example. So we're gonna quickly look at the different rarities and different pack-a-punch stats that I was able to go by, and also quickly to mention the specific way that I decided to hop into this was the way that a normal player would play their game, or at least I hope a normal person would play their game. Personally, the way that I would go about it, with some slight changes here and there just to see the exact statistics. So with Deadshot Daiquiri, no pack-a-punch in gray rarity, I had 101 headshot damage. Green rarity with no package, 151 headshot damage. Green rarity and pack-a-punch 1, 305. Blue rarity and pack-a-punch 1, 404. Blue rarity pack-a-punch 2, 809. Purple rarity pack-a-punch 2, 1214. Purple rarity pack-a-punch 3, 2428. And lastly, gold rarity pack-a-punch 3, 3259 damage. So those are the statistics that you will have on Deadshot, specifically with this weapon, without the Deadhead augment. And now to look at the statistics of how much it actually increased with Deadhead. First thing is first, gray rarity, I had 106 headshot damage. As you can see, it increased by like 5, which isn't insane, but it increased by a tiny bit. Green rarity was 159. Green rarity with pack-a-punch 1 was 318. Blue rarity pack-a-punch 1 was 425. Blue rarity pack-a-punch 2 was 850. Purple and pack-a-punch 2 was 1275. Purple pack-a-punch 3, 2250. And lastly, gold and pack-a-punch 3, 3400 headshot damage. Now, the way I worked off of these headshots is essentially the biggest amount that I could get, which was kind of relatively close since it is a submachine gun. If you're further away, it's going to be less. If they're super close, well, it's the damage that you get. And as you can see, it starts off kind of low, but the higher rarity that you get up to, it almost doubled without the Deadhead augment. So there is a big change, and it definitely isn't noticeable until you get into the gold rarity. But if you are going for your critical kills, which I feel like a lot of people will be going for them for grinding camos, definitely be equipping this bad boy. But there is another augment, which is the second one. We spent way too much time on the first one, called Dead First. This is the second augment that we have, and it says deal double critical damage if any enemy is at full health, which is exactly what it does. From what I learned, you essentially get the 3228 without the obviously increase of deadhead, since you cannot equip it at the same time, and it just pops up twice and you're more than likely going to kill the zombie. But there was a very interesting thing that did happen, was I saw one time the number of 5800 pop up. So I don't know if the game just kind of like automatically added stuff up if it was like a certain distance or something like that, but it surprised me because it kept on saying double the number. It just popped up with the 2 of the same one, and then that one time it went like over 5000 with the submachine gun. So quickly to look at these two, which one would I recommend for you to use? It's actually up to you. They seem pretty good. Obviously one of them requires the zombie to be at full health to be increased with the damage, and Deadhead doesn't actually need that, and it will increase it no matter what. So if you're specifically going for headshots, maybe opt out to use Deadhead, but then again, Dead First is there, and I personally can't find one that I prefer more, so that is completely up to you at the end of the day. The last major augment that we have is called Dead Again. Critical hits have a chance of adding a bullet to your magazine. This one works the exact way that it says. Basically, each time that you shoot a zombie in the head, it will be returning the bullets back into your magazine. It's not insanely noticeable until you kind of turn it off. Personally, when I was doing this like video to get footage, damage. There was one time where I was using it and I forgot that I actually equipped it to make the test because I was personally looking at the numbers of damage on the zombies and stuff like that prior to actually getting to the full recording, and I was like, oh my god, there is a big difference when I turned it off, because you get that 1 or 2 ammo added back in, but since the other major augments just feel so much more powerful and better, I think this one can be just put to the side. And unless you're not going for critical kills and maybe going with a wonder weapon like the ray gun, this one could prove beneficial, but I would always opt out to go for the damage way more over anything that is just like, oh, give me back at least 1 or 2 bullets. Even if the ammunition does cost a lot, there are way better options out there. And now moving on to the last 3 augments, which are the minor ones, we have Dead Break, increased damage to armor pieces. From what I was able to test out, normally damage to the armor will be around the 250s. I wasn't able to actually pinpoint an exact number. 256 seems like the one that I got the most. Obviously zombies that are armored will have the armor themselves, but also manglers, so it's a good way of testing it out on them. And then when I equipped the actual Dead Break, it seems like it also almost doubled. It went up to 413, which was also a number that I started seeing way more after activating this augment. But one thing I want to point out is I also saw this number pop up without the actual Dead Break augment on. This is definitely one that I think you should put on, because again, the manglers are absolutely insane here, and if you can just get through their armor on their head way faster to get to those critical kill damages with Deadhead, that would probably be your best option to choose. But moving over to the second augment, Dead Draw is kind of relatively okay. The competition between these augments isn't really that big of a deal. You have Dead Break, which I would personally choose, but Dead Draw essentially reduces hip fire spread, so your bullets will just go more straight forward in the middle. And the submachine gun that I was using, which was the compact again, already has pretty good like hip fire damage spread, so it just kind of made it even better, almost turning the gun into like a, let's say, laser. I'm not gonna be clickbaiting and be like, oh my god, this weapon becomes a laser. It just felt a slight bit more comfortable to use, but I don't really often go around using my hip fire because again, I'm trying to go for critical kills, for going for headshots, and I feel like everybody will be going for critical kills specifically, which of course you can still do with hip fire, but that's another one that I noticed. And lastly, Dead Set, probably one of the most confusing ones in my opinion. Reduce gun movement while doing advanced movement. Now they don't specify what this advanced movement is, but from the slight little differences that I was able to notice, I think it's obviously omni movement. So whenever you're sliding around, whenever you're jumping, diving, twisting around the place, your gun will just kind of like not go around the place because it can sometimes wobble. So that's probably what it does. But again, I think Dead Break just kind of like overpowers absolutely every single one of these augments, and it's one of the earlier ones that you can unlock, which is super cool. So ladies and gentlemen, that's it. A lot of talking just because I wanted to present you with the statistics that I gathered, because I really tried my best to kind of understand these as best as I can. And Deadhead or Dead First and also Dead Break, I just realized that every single one of these augments starts with dead. Definitely choose those. Choose between Deadhead or Dead First. It's completely up to you. Do you want to deal double damage if they're low on health, or do you just want to deal way more damage, or at least double the damage at some times? And also armor is just such a big thing on zombies, especially manglers, since there's so many of them. That's 100% one that I would recommend for you to use, but at the end of the day, it's completely up to you. So ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see more of these kind of videos of me breaking down augments, definitely be sure to drop a like in the video, as that does let me know I should make more of them. Again, what I said at the beginning. The next one that I'll be covering is Napalm, the ammo mod. It's something that I'm really excited to talk about because it is also pretty powerful. So if you're looking forward to that, that should be going up super soon. Again, thanks so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you've watched this far, you're incredible. Classic Felizy Smooch as always, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.